everybody. Hi, Jason! Welcome to Fuse Summer Kickoff. How many aren't on summer yet? Okay. 6 more days. 6 more days.
3.
How many? How long?
3.
32 more
3
years!
days.
Then I get to retire.
You can retire, yeah. Yeah, we're not going that direction yet. All right, well, so I know that most of us are on summer break, and some of us are obviously on almost summer break. And so tonight we actually had a couple of seniors. Sorry, the white flag song just like rips my throat up. It's awesome. But yeah, exactly. It's totally worth it. Get some phlegm going in there. All right. So, what we're going to start out with actually is we're going to go into team time, and mostly it's just to chill and hang out because this is going to be kind of the last time we're in this. You're in this formulation of your team. Now, if you're not on a team, welcome. You're a free agent.
Incendia!
Somebody's going to grab you and haul you to a team. Don't freak out. It's okay. It's okay.
Production!
All right? So, let's go to your teams. All right. So, we are inviting, we had 2 seniors who were like, yeah, I want to get up there and talk and stuff. And so, yeah, no. They're willing to share some words of wisdom. And this is something new that we're, seeing how this goes tonight. And so they're willing to talk a little bit about their experiences here, or with school, or with life, etc. And just share some thoughts about the big picture, about life. And I know that for some folks, especially our younger folks, that may not mean much, but the reality is, when you hear about people who have life experience, who are right there in your age range, and you go, wow, they've lived life. It can actually have a really deep impact if you let it. So, the 2 folks who are coming up are Neil and Julia. And mostly I'm handing over the mic, and they're going to chat for a little while. And depending on how we're doing for time, this may become an open mic for folks who are maybe leaving and have some closing thoughts, or other graduates who maybe want to talk.
I mean, I can, but we all know nobody wants to talk.
So in some ways, when I was in high school, I actually wrote a letter, and it was written to a specific few, with just some thoughts about. Okay. All right, we're chatting. And I actually called it my senior blessing. And it was conceptually just encouragement, basically final words of encouragement for a select few that I've really gotten to know over the years. So anyway, bless us seniors.
So Julia said she wanted me to start, and I have a couple of bullet points I just wrote down, and there's 2 main topics. The main topics are relationships and every other random thing that came to my mind. So we'll start with every other random thing that came to my mind. The main overarching idea with, I think, the most effective and best way to live your life is to do everything you do in your life with intentionality. Whether that's pursuing friendships with people, doing homework, the way you do your job, the way you interact with your parents, do everything with intentionally. Because if you just passively let life pass you by, before you know it, it's going to be gone. I know I never really started doing that intentionality thing until about beginning of junior year when I was in 4 AP classes. It was like, well, shoot, if I'm going to survive this year, I need to actually be intentional with everything I do. And I was able to enjoy high school so much more that way, and I had a fantastic high school experience. And I think that's a result of that intentionality thing I was talking about. As far as homework goes and work in life, if you have the option of doing something now or doing it tomorrow, do it now, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. I know, for instance, there was one time where junior year I had this huge 10-page paper due, and I saved it, of course, until the night before, because what else would you do with the 10-page paper? And I don't mean like save like the final draft. I mean, I had 0 pages going into Thursday night at about 8 o'clock, and I had to churn out 10 by fourth period on Friday. And that night, my nana went to the hospital, so I had to go to the hospital with her. As a result, I didn't get the paper done. I emailed my teacher and was like, hey, my nana was in the hospital last night. Like, I gave her proof of it and said, is there a way I could have this postponed till over the weekend? And then my teacher was just like, if you had something to turn into me, yes, but what were you doing for the past 2 months that this paper had been assigned? So you never know what's going to happen. Tim sent me a picture of it. There was this huge accident, I don't know if anyone else saw it, at Bull Valley and Crystal Lake Road, just down the road. Who knows what that person procrastinated to do tonight, but now they can't do because that awful thing happened. You never know what tomorrow or later in the day is going to bring. So if you have free time, get your stuff done. As a result, getting that stuff done makes life so much easier, so much less stressful. You can enjoy it so much more. You can actually have like free time planned out. Because if you're like, I know I'm going to finish this tonight, so tomorrow when Matt's free, we can go frisbee golfing. Rather than, I might have to do this homework. I don't know, we'll see what happens. So get stuff done. Next thing, and this is my creed that I live by. If you want yourself to be something, be it. If you are sad and you really want to be happy, make yourself happy. The mind is an incredibly powerful thing, and my favorite teacher I've ever had, my choir director, Mr. Cole, always says that. He says if you set your mind to something and you tell yourself you can do it, you can do it. Again, this goes back to doing things with intentionality or not. If you're sad because you got a bad grade on the test, get over it. There's nothing you can do about it now. Get the next test, kick that next test in the butt. Going along with this, I found this out from one of my best friends the other night, actually. I was talking to her, and she said that her mom, growing up, had severe depression, like medicated for it, also had an anxiety disorder on top of that. So she mentally wasn't there. And she told herself, you know what, I'm done with this. I hate being depressed all the time. I'm going to be happy. And this woman who had something medically, chemically wrong with her brain to why she was depressed, turned to God, was praying to God, and told herself, I'm going to be happy. And she doesn't have those problems anymore. It was like a switch, she said. That is, all of a sudden, those problems are just gone. So if you want to enjoy your life, tell yourself to enjoy your life. Don't let life control you. And now that's a little bit different from Christianity, because you should surrender your life to Christ. But aside from that element of life, don't be passive. Tell yourself, and you'll be happy. And then the final 2 things, 2.5 things, 2.5, that I've found are huge is to have a super close group of friends. That close group of friends can extend to having a few teachers or parents or friends' parents in your life who act as mentors, or people like who you can talk to about anything. If you have a problem, text them about it. People who you can hold you accountable and you can be 100% real with. I know my best friend, freshman year of high school, we had an incredible friendship because, like, when I was sinning a lot and falling away from God, I texted him and said, hey dude, this is going on, and I really need help with this. So then, like, for the next 2 months, every morning and every night when he woke up and before he went to bed, he would find a Bible verse and send it to me, and then we would just have a conversation about it. And we had an incredible friendship, and I grew so much from that. And that accountability that came along with it too shaped me a lot more into who I am. So you're always being told, Jason said it, Ben said it, Jen said it, people who are talking to you are saying, hey, find a good group of friends and make sure you're accountable. And a good group of friends, like I have a good group of friends that I'm having to sleep over with tonight. It's not the same. Find that person who you can tell everything to and who tells everything back to you, and just who you can have an incredible, close relationship with. And just when it comes down to a mentor, my choir director, Mr. Cole, like, he's so incredibly wise. He'll tell you he's not intelligent at all, but he's so incredibly wise. And if you have any questions about life that you're too afraid to ask anyone else or too embarrassed, just ask that person, because it will help you grow so much. And when you mess up, tell them, and they'll help you get through it. So now on to the relationship advice. And I think this will be a little bit different from what you guys have ever heard, mostly because it's from a student's perspective rather than leader's perspective. And obviously leaders have a lot of times been married or been in relationships a lot longer than what mine is, but I'm going to give you advice anyway. So a little background on my love life. I had my first girlfriend in 5th grade. We kissed once, held hands. It was pretty intense. Then she said, "Hey, my friend likes you," and then broke up with me. It really tore me apart. And then that friend and I were dating in 7th grade, even though we lived 50 minutes away from each other and only ever hung out at school. But you know what? It's whatever. It was true love. And then in high school, I had 2 very bad relationships, and then the one incredible relationship that I've been in now for like 27 months-ish. Yeah.
How many hours? How many minutes?
Well,
Seconds?
about 22 hours for the cast party after a show at like 10:30 that it started. So like about 22 hours. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. So this is just stuff I've learned from things that I've messed up on, things that whoever was dating was messed up on, things that I found that have made a relationship so much more incredible, things that maybe have slowed it down, and just, yeah, that stuff. So I'm like 5th, 7th, and 5th grade, 7th grade, and freshman year Neil. You shouldn't just date someone because you want a cuddle buddy. And I use that term with intentionality. Don't just date someone because you're like, I'm lonely. That's not why you should be dating. And don't date someone because you want to be happy. Because if you can't be happy without someone in your life, you're not going to be happy with someone in your life.
Preach. Sorry.
And because you're not in a relationship to be made happy. If anything, you're in a relationship to make the other person happy, and in turn, become happy by the wonderful feeling of reward that happiness you gave to someone else made you feel. If that made sense, it's a circle. Anyway, so when it comes to dating, the reason dating is a thing, you guys should be lucky dating's a thing. Because if this were Jesus' time, it'd be like, yo, dude, I got 2 camels and a chicken. Can I have your daughter? And and that'd be about it. You wouldn't really have much say in that. Luckily now, we have a little bit more, choice, free will to choose who we want to be with. But you don't date someone for any physical benefits or any emotional benefits you feel from it. You date someone because you think maybe one day there's a chance you can marry them. Now, I'm not saying walk up to someone and be like, "Hey, I like you. I think we could be married one day. Want to start dating?" That's creepy. So don't hear what I'm saying, don't correctly hear what I'm saying there. But the reason you're in a relationship is to see, or to better prepare yourself for marriage, because eventually that's the end goal of dating, is get engaged and get married. So don't just date because you want to be made feel all bubbly and good, because that might last for like a couple hours. It might last for 2 or 3 months, or maybe even a year if you're lucky. But if you're just in it for the feeling of being with someone, it's going to crash and burn, blow up in flames, and death and tears and bad things. So now I have another story of a couple good friends of mine who are dating right now. They've been dating for like over a year, but I wouldn't call what they have in their relationship as a good thing. My one friend, the guy in the relationship, has a lot of personal problems that he's never really worked through. He is awful at taking responsibility for his actions. In AP Psychology, we learned about this year. There's these things called defense mechanisms, where if you feel threatened, be it emotionally, cognitively, or physically, you do these things in reaction to that. So when he doesn't turn in a homework assignment, and then the teacher's like, why didn't you turn it in? So he feels like he's being attacked. His defense mechanism is to project it onto someone else, say, oh, well, I couldn't do this because of that, or so for instance, I asked what I do for a job. It's pretty impressive, I know. I clean garbage cans at my dad's office. So one time I was out of town and I'm like, hey dude, can you do this for me? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he didn't do it for me. And when I got back, my dad was pissed at me because I promised him it would get done and then it wasn't done. And I was like, why didn't you do it? He goes, oh, well, I had a bunch of homework that night, which I know is a load of bull because he never does his homework. So, he has that personal problem that he's never got through. When you get into a relationship like that, when you have problems and when you mess up in your relationship and you blame it on the other person, that's not healthy for either of you. Especially if you do that and then so if we were in a relationship right now and I blame something, and I were to blame Julia for something, but then Julia would like accept it and be like, okay, whatever. Then she would start feeling like, well, maybe it was her fault, and I would start feeling justified in knowing that it wasn't my fault, which neither of those two things are healthy. So if you have personal problems like that, if you can't come to terms when you mess up with something, you're not ready for a relationship. So don't force yourself or anyone else to be in a relationship with you if you can't take it. On the flip side of that, if you're in a relationship with someone who can't accept that they were wrong ever, you should tell them, maybe you should accept when you're wrong sometimes. And if they're not willing to do that, that's not a relationship you're ready, or that they're ready to be in right there. And that may be a kind of crappy situation, but frankly, you'll get over it. It's not worth the pain and turmoil it's going to cause in that very moment to be prolonged over a long period of time, rather than just saying, you know what, you're not ready for a relationship, maybe we can try this later. And my two friends, like with the exception of the times where he projects his issues onto other people, they're in a great relationship and they enjoy each other's company so much, and if that element wasn't part of his life, then they would be in an incredible relationship. But personally, I don't think they're ready for that relationship because of that. So there's that. The main important thing I found in relationships is self-awareness. Now that's something, it means different things in the context in which you use it, but I mean this in the sense that, like, with psychology and like Buddhism, it's like self-awareness of knowing yourself and mental stuff. But in this sense, self-awareness, like, realize what effect your actions have on the people around you. Realize, even if, like, you're just, so for a guy, if I'm just talking to this girl a lot, or texting them a lot, and talking to them a lot, and I have a girlfriend, it could mean nothing between me and the other girl. I could just be doing it because I'm bored and I'm talking to someone, regardless of the fact that they're a girl or if they were a guy. But realize, like, looking outward, what that looks like to your significant other, and realize, oh, maybe this isn't the best thing. And extension of that, have open minds of communication. So self-awareness, communication, yeah. You need to be willing to make sacrifices. Like I said at the beginning, you're not in a relationship because you want to be in a relationship. You should be in the relationship to make the other person happy. And now if you're not happy in the relationship, take a step back, evaluate that, say, why aren't I happy? See if it's a fault with you or that, talk it out, whatever. Because you should be, for the most part, you should be happy in your relationships. But at the same time, there is nothing more rewarding for me than, like, going over to Alan's house, bringing her flowers, and making her eggs and tea. Just because, like, I can. And it's not a huge nuisance to me. I get flowers at Aldi for $4, but don't tell her that. Like, there's a bunch of little things you can do to make the other person so much happier, and those little things that the other person gets extremely happy about is so rewarding when that gets pushed back at you. Because I'm happiest when Alan's happy. Like, there's the saying, happy wife, happy life. Like, that's 110% true. So be willing to make those sacrifices to make the other person happy. Girls, just because you're girls and guys should have chivalry doesn't mean you should expect them to do everything in the world for you.
It doesn't mean you're always right either.
It doesn't mean you're always right either. Like I said, if this wasn't clear, my advice isn't just directed towards guys, especially because we live in such an age of talking about how chivalry is dead or forcing guys to be chivalrous. Like, guys, you should be chivalrous. You should open doors. And girls, when guys open a door for you, don't think he's questioning your strength or your ability to open the door. Realize he's opening the door for you because he can. And it's a polite social gesture that was established a long time ago, so get over it. Sorry, that bothers me. It's just, like, I have a friend who I just opened a door for because I was walking in front of them, and they're like, I can open my own door. And I'm like, I know you can open your own door. It wasn't a question of whether or not you had the ability. Okay, anyway. Chivalry, that. So, especially because a lot of times guys are going to be the ones who are doing the more chivalrous things. Guys should be making more sacrifices because guys, frankly, you probably don't deserve your girlfriends. So, and I'm not saying you should feel inferior, but just know that you should treat your girlfriends like a princess. However, at the same time, girlfriends don't act like a princess. That's obnoxious. So I guess there's like dichotomy, weird thing. Treat like princess, don't act like princess. Guys, don't act like a princess, that'd be weird. Steven is a princess, besides Steven, it's okay. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents about that. And then the main thing that is all-encompassing, the 3 main things. Have self-awareness in life, see how your actions affect those around you. Because if you can recognize that, or so when someone does something to you and it hurts you, whether it's intentional or not, remember how that made you feel, so next time you do something in a similar situation, you're aware of how that's going to affect others. And then just do things with intentionality, and honestly, trust in God. This is incredible for advice for our relationship and for as you go through life. When you're going through something awful in life, realize that there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is salvation, there is eternal happiness, there is incredibleness in God. And realize that that awesomeness that God has in store for you has nothing to do with you. It's only because God chose to love you. So, trust in that. In relationships, where I don't need to talk about how far is too far. We've had that talk plenty of times. Audrey said, like, nothing below the neck. Whatever that is.
It's a slippery slope, I'm telling you.
It is a slippery slope. So, like, and part of the problem with that, I'll go into a little tangent, why not? I'm done with what's on here. I can keep talking, why not? Sorry. Yeah, as far as physicality in a relationship goes, cuddling is fine. I'm not going to tell you straight up what's fine and not, so that'll get awkward, and I don't want to do that, because that's weird. But know that there is a reason why God says to save sex before marriage. I've never had sex, so I couldn't tell you, but I know from some of my friends that have, there was an incredible mental connection that gets made when that happens. Like, it's actually a thing. There's this chemical in the brain called oxytocin, which is basically like the most addictive of all like chemicals and whatnot. So when you get that, you become so attached to that person, you require such a need for that person, which if you're in marriage is perfect, because if you have that, it's a healthy part of your marriage, then it's just another layer of fantastic attraction and attachment that you feel towards that person. If you're in a relationship though, and there is another element, say, so again, if I'm projecting my faults on someone else while we're having that physical intimacy, it makes things really tough when you need to end that relationship. And it's really easy to get caught in a bad relationship that way. Because you're like, well, I feel like I've already gone this far, you feel attached to that person, but you know it's not healthy for you or not healthy for them. Just don't do it. Like, let's be real, we have plenty of time on this earth. Like, the average life expectancy is like 78 now. If you get married when you're like 23 or 24, you do the math. That's plenty of time to do whatever you want to do. Like, just enjoy talking to your significant other. Enjoy just being in a relationship with the person. Yeah, there's no need for, that fun stuff that married people do. It's weird. Never thought I would say that in front of people. It's one of those things like you expect to do in life. There's like a list. That wasn't one of those things. So yeah, that's my 2 cents of the random garbage that came to Neil's mind and relationships. So yeah. Hi.
That was like 4 cents, Neil.
Thanks, I didn't need that time earlier. You
Okay, we're gonna stop arguing about Steven's tablet now. Because it's fine, I can see it. You're good. So Neil just talked for like 15 minutes about life. I'm gonna talk for like 5 about probably my favorite thing to talk about in the world, and that is Fuse. Okay, so Jason, when he asked us to come up here and talk about our experience at Fuse, I was really excited because Fuse is probably my all-time favorite thing to talk about. And then I realized that the only reason I'm up here talking about it is because I'm leaving, and I was significantly less excited. So, yeah, this is my Fuse experience. I started coming about 4 years ago, and it's been awesome ever since I first walked in the door. And I still remember Amy was standing right there, and she turned around and saw me and almost knocked me over.
Like
And-
every week.
What?
Like every week.
Not every week. I almost got knocked over this week, and I saw everybody in the office turn around and look.
You were worried that you were gonna hit your head on the ground.
I've done that before. I'm pretty sure I've done that in Fuse, actually. This could happen. It's true. But anyway, so yeah. So in those 4 years, you could probably count the number of Sundays that I've missed on one hand. Like, I am always here. And ever since I started coming, Fuse has always been the highlight of my week. Like, it never mattered how terrible those other 6 days were or even how awesome they were. Fuse was always the best thing. And this has become like my second family almost since the first day that I started coming. And like, we even function like a family. Like, let's face it, we have our fights, we have our drama and our obnoxious younger siblings, and
What's the older sibling?
And they don't
it's okay. Sometimes it's funny. Well, sometimes, otherwise you wouldn't have the label obnoxious. And we make our mistakes together, and at the end of the day, we're still here, and we still hopefully love each other. I could be wrong, but
No one heard that. That's weird. Well, maybe they heard it then.
I heard that.
I called it gross.
he called me gross. If you didn't hear that, that's okay. You're just weird. So, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, Fuse is a really special place. This is the only youth group that I've ever gone to. So I find this normal, but in the sense that this is a multi-church ministry, and these are really, really rare. I've never been to a youth group that's only one church, so I wouldn't know the difference, but a couple weeks ago, we got together with a bunch of youth ministers from other churches, and they were like, wow, this is really, really different. Like, if we tried this, we'd have so much trouble with it. And, I never realized how complicated a multi-church ministry actually is, and we take it for granted that we're not all from one church. And, I don't even remember the last time somebody asked me what church I was from, because it just never mattered. And I'm pretty sure the only reason Amy and Sarah ever found out that I'm from Prince of Peace is because I knew where the apple juice was. I knew where to find it, and that's how they found out. So, on Sunday nights when we come together to worship as a youth group, it's not us coming together as students from different churches. This is who we are. This is our youth group. We are one family. And as far as the complicated part goes, how many of you knew that our volunteers have to read a manual? I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. I probably could have figured it out if I thought about it, but I never did.
One of those now? Because I'm an adult.
Oh, move
Yeah.
on.
Talk about it later.
Tim, you're a Padawan. You don't have to read. You're a Padawan. But yeah, so for all of our volunteers who had to read that manual, I just want to say thank you, because I know, sometimes we can be frustrating, and I want to thank you for, coming out here and not getting paid for dealing with all of our drama.
Welcome.
And we love you.
You're welcome.
Who gets paid? You do not. You're kind of
Jason is
Jason and Jen and GT and who else?
Not cheesy.
Not GT? Really?
No, GT just dropped.
Just Jen and I.
GT's
You
just
know
awesome.
We
Let's cross the race. Look at that.
Yes, pizza is a form of currency. Absolutely. It's true. Okay. So thank you to our leaders, and then for the rest of you, I want to say thank you for what is probably the best thing that anyone's ever given me, and that is the 2 years worth of inside jokes and quotes that is known as the Book of Euculations. And if you didn't know its existence, you do now. I started it 2 years ago on a Harrisburg trip where we were rebuilding houses, and I'm not even sure what happened. I just kind of started writing down funny things that people said, and then I just never
misplaced my
stopped.
pants, Julia. That was what started it.
Jen was
I'm
losing
losing my pants.
that was the original quote. I'm losing my pants. Jen said it, and it's a Google Doc now that's about 9.5 pages long, and it's beautiful.
It's going to be shared really soon.
Actually, Jason was thinking about replacing the cat picture of the week with a quote of the week next year. Are we in favor? Jason, I will send you the link to that Google Doc. There, it will be shared.
We can publish it too.
You don't want to publish it. Just saying. Do not make it public domain. There are things in there that will scar people for life.
That's the beauty of it.
Yes, but I know. I feel obligated to protect some people's innocence. Those of us who haven't. Yeah, anyway. But Jason, I trust you use discretion when you pick quotes. And I take no responsibility for anything anyone said, especially myself. So yeah, that's my Fuse experience. It's basically like Euculations right there. And when I go to college, that's the part of Fuse that I'm taking with me. And also leaving behind, which is kind of a paradox. But, Neil, do you have anything more to say?
Since I never talked about my Fuse experience, I'll talk like 30 seconds about my Fuse experience. I swear, like 30 seconds. It was the 7th grade. I had been hopping around churches since like 5th grade. When we left our old church, couldn't find a new one. We finally came to Fellowship of Faith after like 2.5 years of looking for a church. Like, oh, this church is awesome. And came here for like 4 or 5 months, and finally my mom was like, go to Sunday school sometime? And I was like, I don't know. So she made me go to Sunday school one time, and Michelle Moran was teaching that class, and I remember like really enjoying myself in that class and talking to people like Brian and Eric, if any of you remember them, which is weird, but some of you might not. Oh, I feel old.
Just the leaders.
And after about a month, Michelle finally convinced me to come to Fuse, and that was the greatest thing anyone could have ever done for me. And because Fuse has changed my life so much. When I first walked through the door, I didn't really know anybody, but Alec came up to me, and I got to follow him around. Went to a retreat finally, had an awesome time, again also at Michelle's urging. And so leaders, thank you so much for pushing students to uncomfortable places to get out there and Fuse, because it's such an incredible blessing and has such an incredible impact on people's lives. So thank you so much, leaders, for that. And I just want to read my favorite Bible verse. It's actually on my class ring, Romans 12. Romans 12 verses 1 and 2, but 1-2 didn't fit on the ring, so I just had to do Romans 12. This is the part that's called a living sacrifice to God. This is the New Living Translation. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all He has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind He will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship Him. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. And I think that obviously everything in the Bible is true, but of all the things, this couldn't be more true than what it is. Letting God transform your life has an incredible impact on the way you feel and your view on life. There's so much less stress when you know that God's there, and whatever happens, knowing that God's in control. So just give yourselves to God, guys. That's the biggest advice I could give you. And we talk a lot about that, and maybe that sounds preachy. I don't know. Try to hear it differently from me tonight. It is the greatest thing you could do for yourself is giving yourself to God. So yeah, that's my 36 cents.
Yeah, that was over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I just counted 30.
So, we're running a little short on time to like just open this up to anybody else who would want to just share some thoughts, either about views, about life, whatever it is. So what I'm going to suggest is, once we're done with worship tonight, if you are interested and you're available, you know, most of us don't have school, so meet us in the corner there and we'll just keep chatting, because I love talking about this kind of stuff, and see what kinds of life insights you guys have is always amazing to me. What I wanted to do real quick, because, yeah, real quick, somebody has the clicker handy, right? Somebody has a clicker handy?
Sure does.
There was a clicker? Hey, all right. So, Fuse Disc Golf League, there's the clicker. Okay, for those of you who are not familiar, this is for both males and females, although we rarely get the females, but really, I don't know, it'd be fun to have more females. Anyway, Fuse Disc Golf League. We play at Lippold Park, and we're starting on Tuesday the 10th. By the way, this is Fuse Summer. Okay. If you're not familiar with what disc golf is, it's a lot of fun. You throw like a frisbee into a basket.
It's golf and things.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can throw things at things.
There you go. Things and things. We're throwing things and things. Next. Yes. See, I spelled Wednesdays right there.
Good job, Jason. Good job.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, so poolside Bible study at Youngsteads. If you're not familiar with where they live, it's on our website.
Go to Luna Hotties, they're around there.
So yeah, it's poolside Bible study. I don't really need to describe that too much more, do I? Next. Midsummer Night of Worship. It'll basically be a lot of music, with more music, a dash of music. And I'm looking forward to that one. And we have Revolution and Walkabout. So these are our big two retreats for the summer. Revolution is going on the 18th through the 21st of now this month. Can you believe it's June already? Yeah. Yeah. All right, make sure you get registered. Early registration, yeah, early registration is $50 and it ends soon. So, and I'm not going to tell you the date, you have to look it up. It ends soon. So make it happen. Quick. Fast. We actually have, so we have Feed My Starving Children, we have Home with a Sparrow, we have ARC, which is a food pantry thing. We have a Just Harvest down in Chicago that we're going down to. We're going to be doing some VBS this year. And so there's kind of two tracks. So if you're not a VBS person, but you're I want to be a physical labor person, that's awesome. If you're not a physical labor person, but you want to do VBS, that's awesome. So give it up for Gwen, just heading up the whole VBS track. Okay, and then Walkabout is happening regardless of how many students come, because honestly, I want to go tent camping. So this is our, go into the wilderness and tent camp. GT raises his hand. Never mind. Okay, so we're going to Starved Rock. Thank you. We're going to Starved Rock. We will go hiking, camping, tenting, talking about God and stuff. I think that's it.
That's it.
Cool. All right. If we can have the band come up, I'll pray us out, and then we will have more music. And like I said, we can talk more about life and stuff over there. All right? God, I want to thank you so much for all of these people. I want to thank you for students who stepped up and were like just willing to open up their hearts and share some of their thoughts and some of life. And Lord, for everybody else who's hearing it, open our hearts. Help us to see the wisdom in what they've shared. Lord, thank you for the volunteers who are here, who make this happen. Lord, you brought us together for an amazing purpose. Lord, may we honor and serve you.